Okay, I'm going to give you the floor. Okay, but first I'm going to say something. Okay, so Kevin and Laurie, again, two of my favorite people on the planet, just amazing friends, backgrounds in just authenticness and faith and everything else, have created the most amazing product that's been selling left and right all over the place. And most recently, as all of you know, if you don't know, you need to know, on Shark Tank. Welcome, Kevin and Laurie. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. It's always a pleasure.
So let's talk about both of you, your start, because everybody, I'm saying everybody should know, but everybody doesn't know. They'll know. So let's talk about your background, what you do, what you invented, and let's start from the very beginning.
You want to speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, so basically about 4.5 years ago now, we came up with an idea of how to build a better sandcastle. Kevin saw dad and his son struggling on the beach with the old fill and flip molds and thought there has to be a better way. So fast forward 4.5 years later, patents, molds, product, toy shows,
Shark Tank, Toy of the Year, Live with Kelly and Ryan. I mean, it's just goes on and on.
It's been a wild ride. Never thought, I don't know. It's just still, I keep saying it over and over. It's just surreal, like where we are at this point. It's just crazy.
Yeah, we were just saying before, we haven't even had time to kind of sit down and digest what just happened last week, because we've been going so hard since last Friday when the show actually aired.
Processing orders.
Let's talk about last Friday, because people really don't know. So last Friday, you were featured on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So this means, for those listeners and viewers who have no idea, you literally worked so hard for the last 4 years. I mean, did you foresee Shark Tank in the future when you started working on this product, Create a Castle?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like Kevin said, if we had $1 for everybody that said, you guys should go on Shark Tank at every show we were at, whether it's a consumer show or a trade show, I don't even know.
On the beach.
Oh,
I mean,
my
everybody.
goodness. You guys should be on Shark Tank. You guys should be on Shark Tank.
I think it was manifested through the people who said it to us over and over, quite honestly, because when we first started this, obviously Shark Tank existed, but we never really thought that it would actually happen. It's kind of like that way out in the distant kind of thing and thought that you never really think you can get to. But we were just saying, here we are, it's almost a week past and we haven't even had a chance to sit down and digest what happened last Friday. It's insane.
Yeah. So I have two questions for you. So the first one, because everybody's going to want to know this, is number one, when you got accepted to Shark Tank, what was that feeling?
It's crazy because it's not like you get accepted and they're like, okay, you go on. It's a huge, long process. So, there's lots of auditions and different things like that. So a lot of it, you're not really allowed to talk about, but it's not they email you and say, you get to come film for the show. You know what I mean? So it's definitely.
They do a background check to make sure you're an authentic business.
It's like it's a nerve-wracking process that you have to go through.
Yeah.
When they say, okay, it's kind of like, it's like any kind of play or whatever, you have to make your auditions. You got to make the cut,
So you really don't know. So you really don't know until you know.
Right.
So even through all of your paperwork and the journey and the emails back and forth and thinking that you're completely accepted, but you may not be, but it feels like you actually are because you're going through this process. There was some part of you that was saying this may not actually happen.
Right. Right. Yeah. You're not. Yeah. Because you got to go through the steps.
And you have to have a good product that is good for TV, right? If you don't have a good product that's going to look good on TV for whatever reason, or, we're lucky because we have a very, very demonstrable product that kind of shows itself once you build it, as everybody will see. If you haven't seen it yet on Shark Tank, you should definitely watch our episode because we literally had 1.5 tons of sand in the tank. As I like to say, We brought the beach to the tank and to the sharks.
That is so crazy. So I want to talk about this too. All right. So now the second question was, so once you were accepted, once you really knew you were going on, now that's another surreal feeling, right? What was that feeling when you actually knew this is it? We're on. Now it's in the bag. So talk a little bit about that. Who accepted your offer? Because the world knows now, so we can talk about it now. Now the cat's out of the bag. So who accepted your offer?
No, I was gonna say, it's just, once you do know, it is pure excitement, beforehand, before you film is all nerves and, making sure you know your numbers and making sure you're prepared. I mean,
Yeah.
if you watch the show, you have to know your business and know your numbers and be prepared and stuff. And then after the fact, it's still, nerve-wracking, but exciting, especially now that we did get an offer.
I think the hardest part too, like when we were flying out there to LA to go and do the shoot, it was like when you're done with it, it's hard because you have all this excitement bottled up, but you can't tell anybody anything. You have to be quiet because it's, like
You're under contract.
You're under contract and you can't reveal anything because look, that would ruin the ending of the movie. So we had to be hush hush. Nobody knew anything.
That's incredible to keep that. I'm sure it was freaking you out. You were going back and forth with each other over and over again. Can you believe this is an amazing thing? And it really is. But I want to also talk about, because listeners, again, inventors, especially my clients, are listening and saying, so many of my clients say, I want to get on Shark Tank before I even have the consultation. First thing they say to me is, I have a great invention. I need to be on Shark Tank, without having pen to paper, without having any concept of anything. Many viewers, listeners think that just because they have a good idea, they're going to get on Shark Tank. But I want to follow that up by saying, I've seen your hard work, your perseverance, your diligence. That takes a lot of family support. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes heart and soul passion, and everything that you've had over the 4 years or longer to make this happen. It doesn't happen overnight, and you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, and I'm sure there are some people who have an idea and they can get on the show. I mean, I don't know. It depends on, what the producers want for the show and that kind of stuff too. So it doesn't mean somebody can't get on the show with just an idea or just, just starting out. But for us, it was the right time in our business, at the right growth point of our business, that we wanted to possibly get, an investor and that kind of stuff at that time. It just worked out well for us at that point of our business.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know that before you go on Shark Tank too, you gotta have some numbers, you gotta have some sales. You can't go in there with dry sales. Like, it's just, they're gonna we've all seen the show, right? They're gonna tell you you're here too early, it's too early stage. You need to prove that there is a true business, a viable business where you can sell your product to the masses and showcase that on their show.
And that's exactly what you did. I mean, even a year ago, we talked about this, and you said you didn't think you were ready. You weren't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
You, Laurie, in particular, were like, you know what, we got to get our numbers together. We have to get our numbers together. There's no way that we're going to show up and not have our stuff together.
Yep.
And you showed up and you proved it. You had your numbers straight. It was absolutely amazing. Your who said, which one of the sharks said it's a seasonal product, and you just blew them the head.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful. Recap that moment.
That was, gosh, it's all such a blur. So we kind of figured, everybody would always say that to us, it's a seasonal product, it's a seasonal product. And that's why we did the dual packaging with it on the back. So the minute he said that, we knew.
She just picked it up.
Flip it around.
She was on it like white on rice. She was like, boom, there it is.
So
So it's not, so I mean, again, for the people who don't know what Create a Castle is, it's not a seasonal product. It's something that we can use all year round. You have snow and you have sand. Talk about that a little, to talk about more of it, because again, listeners are coming in for the first time and they don't necessarily know what Create a Castle is. So talk a little bit more about what it does.
Yeah, so Create a Castle is basically a revolutionary product in the sense that it's the first sandcastle or snowcastle molding system that instead of filling a mold, flipping it and being bored to death and having it not work more than half the time, these are hollow cylinders and you can use the parts independently. You could stack them to create a full tower. You don't have to stack them depending on the beach you're on. And then the beauty is now, before we went on air to Shark Tank, we also rolled out an indoor line as well for indoor play on your tabletop with sand or snow compound. Obviously not real snow, but it's a synthetic based sand. It's a compound that we bleached white to make it look like snow, so it feels like you're playing in the snow, or brown sand.
And the molds have the same premise as our outdoor kit, that they split in half, or they open instead of, filling it and flipping it, even with the compound.
Yep.
It's brilliant. Now, I want to go to a lighter note, real light. I mean, this is incredibly light, but really light and white. Let's talk about the day that we were out at QVC presenting the product with the snow.
Oh my gosh.
Are we going there?
Is that when you had it on your nose?
Are we really going there?
Oh, we're going there. I mean, the listeners have to know, like all kinds of things happen that you don't know about behind the scenes. Everything's not perfect. Stuff happens.
Oh gosh.
A lot of things happen. Let's talk about the cart rolling away. Let's talk about,
my God.
Yeah.
so much happens.
When we travel for a trade show, especially if we're showcasing winter and there's no snow, Kevin basically came up with a way to make it look like snow for the outdoor kit. So we would have our table and it would have sand, and then he mixed baking soda
And hair conditioner.
So, and that all that stuff, we would have like hundreds of pounds on these carts, and the one cart started rolling down the thing. And it's not like you can just grab it. It would like take you, it weighs as much as me and Lisa together, like going down.
That was when we were presenting to the buyer.
Yeah. And then
I think the one who saved us was actually Tara. She's like,
Yes.
hello guys, the cart's rolling away.
So we're walking into the doors of QVC. Kevin and Laurie have this giant cart filled with snow and sand and stuff. And we're taking pictures and all that because they're presenting to QVC and the whole thing. And Tara is also filming. And so she sees cart rolling down the ramp. If you ever seen the front entrance of QVC, there's a big ramp. The cart literally starts rolling away. I mean, that was absolutely, I think we may have that on video. We have to try to
probably do. Someone
I
does.
think we have that on
If we don't, we can blame Tara. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the second thing is we're inside QVC and we're putting everything together, and now Kevin's talking to the buyer, right? And
and he's demonstrating in the white powder.
In the white.
And I suddenly had this urge to itch my nose with
And
white
he's like
powder all
this.
over my hand. And
So
Laurie's like,
Lisa and I are looking at him, and he's talking to the buyer with white powder all over his nostrils, and we're
And
like,
going like this.
I know, and he keeps touching it. And Lisa and I are like trying to get his attention.
You got to keep your high energy. That's all I could say. You got to keep your high energy.
We're like, oh wow, we can't get his attention. Just let him talk. It's going all over his nose.
But then you could fast forward to when we actually went on QVC. You remember this? We brought all that same material, and
Yes.
the baking soda started drying out. So I brought it all into the hotel, filled the bathtub, mixed it up in the bath. I think we have photos of that somewhere too, and literally got it ready for the air date.
With the conditioner, we probably left the film in that
Oh
bathtub.
my good
We're
Lord.
like, what are they
Should
doing
we be
in there?
disclosing this right now? I don't know if we should be saying.
Oh yeah, 100%. You have to, because you got to go through stuff.
Oh,
And
God.
you walk through it so gracefully, I have to say. I mean, you're nervous wreck inside because it's just got to get done. You can't throw up your hands and say, this isn't going to work. You make it work. no matter what happens, the snow drying up, it's dry and not being able to like mold it the way you want to, but you figure it out and you make it work. Same
Yep.
goes to sand, right? The sand isn't always pliable in the way you want it to work, but you figure out, you make it work.
Yep.
You know, there's so many little things that go on behind the scenes that people don't, you know, people don't know. They don't see. Especially going on Shark Tank, it looks flawless.
Yeah.
Like you just showed up and it was magic. It was magical. And it is magical. I think it's a magical thing that you were on Shark Tank. I still can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it, but it's still, it's hard for me to believe that. I mean, I know I know you so well and you did. I mean, I knew you still can't believe it. You
No.
still,
That's still
but
like,
you so deserve it. You so deserve it. You work so hard to get where you are, and you know, you work hard every day. You promote your business. You're out there on different beaches all over the United States, traveling literally to build castles and showcase your product. And that's what it takes, isn't it?
yeah.
Absolutely. We were just saying today that, like, you know, when I'm in the warehouse, it's actually taking away from business because I'm really efficient at taping boxes and packing kits and doing all that stuff now. But when I go on a beach and I demonstrate, our sales velocity literally 5x's in the summertime. It's unbelievable because of, you know, we'll find the busiest section in the beach, stake our flag, everybody sees the big Create Castle flag. And I built this giant monstrosity of a castle that nobody can miss. And they all start taking pictures of the flag and going buying the product on Amazon or our website. It's literally, that's how you get it done. It's guerrilla marketing at its best. It's, you go out there, you are your best presenter of your brand. There is nobody else to replace
it's like
Kevin
going
or
door to
Laurie.
door. Mark Cuban, I always would hear him say that on Shark Tank, is like, you know, he started out going door to door. You know, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to go door to door. We went beach to beach.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he started.
And then
And
we're the
still do
door.
it. Yeah.
And then we're the door and everybody comes knocking on our door on the beach. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's just such a access point for us.
You're not going to believe this. So you make your mark and you make your presence known. And I've told you like many times, many of my clients, when I talk about Create a Castle, they go, huh, I know that. I know that color. I know that I know that logo. My sister was here for a couple of days. And of course, she knows that you were on Shark Tank and everything. And now my sister lives in San Antonio, Texas. One of the people from her job lived in New Milford, right? New Milford, is that the town? That's the
Milford,
town.
yeah.
New Milford, right? She said her family saw the big giant castle that you built. This is San Antonio, Texas. She knew about Shark Tank. She goes, oh my gosh, that guy lives in our town. Her parents still live there and they saw the castle that you built.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And that goes to another
Crazy.
point. That goes to another point though, that, you know, like people probably don't know this. We didn't even talk about this. We did a giant 15-foot sandcastle. I flew a guy up by the name of Dan in the Sand. He actually gives lessons down in Destin, Florida with our kits and pro level kits of his own as well. He flew up to help me build this Shark Tank reveal castle that was literally 15 feet tall. It's the tallest castle ever built in our local lake, or probably in the state of Connecticut, for all I know. And that's the kind of stuff you do though. Like I have a sandcastle product and a snow castle product.
That's what he's talking about.
What
That's
better
the
way?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Well-
sister's telling me about it, and my sister lives in San Antonio. She would have no idea. So
Please.
this person, insane.
It reached so wide when we started posting it. There were people driving up from towns over, you know, not just in Milford, but Bethel and all these other towns. Woman drives up and says, you'll never guess how I heard about this. I'm like, was it on the news or something? She's like, no, my daughter up in Canada, I think she said like Alberta, Canada, saw the photo on social media and said, Mom, this is just a couple of towns from you. You got to go see this.
God.
So that's the power, again, that's the power of social media and marketing and all this stuff, that people up in Canada were seeing this thing.
So
Like, it's unbelievable.
it's remarkable. So I want listeners to hear, please give your website, all of your social media platforms they can find you on, because you're still selling the product. I know you can't imagine packing another box right now. But this is just the beginning, as I've always said, this is just the beginning. So to give you social media.
You want me to do it? You got such a prettier voice. All right, it's createacastle.com is our website. All of our social media handles are just Create a Castle.
Which is so smart. Keep it all the same. You'll,
Nice
you'll,
and easy.
Yup, recognize the colors, recognize the brand. Kevin's always sporting the brand. He's got it on his shirt. I
Yeah.
was even wearing a hat the other day. I had to pick one that matched my outfit. And I didn't pay for it. I didn't pay for that hat, guys.
I'll tell you what, it's getting tricky to walk around town now with this thing now because people are stopping us like, hey, we saw you guys. It's like, oh man, I forgot to have the shirt on. It's fun though.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, right?
Exciting.
You
really
build a
is.
brand. We're literally building a brand, and that's the feedback you want from people is, hey, I know your brand now.
And that comes back to why we chose Kendra.
Yeah.
Is because her offer and her comments were, I want to build this brand. You know, she believed in the products and the expansion and everything that we could do with it, you know, so she believed in Create a Castle.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that too. So you had two sharks making the offer. You had Damon John, who made an offer, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And Kendra. So let's talk about that. You guys, I mean, I watched it. I thought I could say the whole thing, but it's your show. So I watched it over and over again.
So Kendra offered us, you know, the amount that we had come in, the dollar amount, and then for, you know, a higher percentage, but she, you know, wanted to continue as Create a Castle and do all of that. And then Damon John's offer was a little bit different. It was basically, he wanted to more so license the technology and the product and everything. So not necessarily build a brand, but just like a different avenue. So either one would have, you know, benefited us in some way or another, but we've worked so hard. We kind of wanted to move forward more so with Create a Castle versus giving someone else the technology. So that's kind of why we chose Kendra. Plus she was like a ray of sunshine the whole time, sitting there smiling, like
And
really just so welcoming.
not to mention we're empty nesters now. This is our baby. So like we need stuff to do. We don't want to just sit around and collect a royalty check. We get bored out of our minds.
Well, speak for yourself on that.
All right,
I
well, I'm
think I
speaking
could
for
sit
myself.
like-
I shouldn't talk.
Laurie's like, okay, you know what? Please.
Tired, no.
Hey,
I'm ready to lay down.
watch the show and you'll see who made the decision. She made the decision, not me.
Oh,
I let
yeah.
her have it all.
I know.
Oh my gosh. So even you talking about this, like, so Damon John made an offer, Kendra made an offer. I mean, all of the just standing there before these people who are incredible. All of the sharks are just the most very, very amazing people. Not the most amazing people, but I mean, top tier in this industry anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just incredible. The hard work that they put into what they do and the thought that they have to put into things, you know, to the decisions that they're making. I mean, what did you think about that? When you were standing there, again, recapping that feeling, what were you thinking? What were you thinking when Mark was making his comments and Damon and Kevin?
We're sponges, right? And these people have gone through the ringer. These are the, like you said, top tier business people probably in the world.
Yeah.
The best of the best. They, you know, not all of their feedback was accurate in a sense, but we took it all in because they've got so much background in their business and they know what works and what doesn't work. Of course, we sponged it all in. I mean,
Yeah, because everything they had to say, even if we may not have 100% agreed, they may have been saying it because we were only giving them a snippet
yeah.
of our, so we knew different, but from what they heard, that's how they came to that decision or that comment. So it's like, you know, you got to understand where they're coming from in terms of thinking something about your business.
Yeah.
You know, because they like literally, you know, they're deciding this right on the spot. And again, you're not telling them we'd be there for, you know, 20 hours trying
Weeks.
to tell them everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's kind of what the show is like. That's just
It's
boom,
quick.
boom, boom.
And then when you're put on the spot, you got to make a decision as to
Yeah.
who you want to go. It's all very real. Like
Yeah.
It's scary, it's high pressure, but man, it was fun.
But this is what I credit you for. I mean, you had to get your stuff together. You had to think on your feet, man. I mean, this was real. You had one chance to do it the right way once within what, 45 minutes or
Yeah,
less?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, just to be able to stand there and give them all of the everything that you knew, but you worked very, very hard to get collective and everything else. But that was completely outstanding. The way you stood there so professionally and so expert and brought your message across. It was just completely impeccable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's giant. Took it home.
You know, it's when you're put in a position like that, it's like you're in a World Series, and when you swing the bat, do you want to hit a home run or do you want to strike out? You got two choices. And we went in there ready to hit a home run. We knew what we had to do. And you know, again, our product kind of shows and tells itself. It tells the story sitting on the table right there. I mean, you can't miss it.
And you tell the story, you tell it well. You tell the story well. And yes, the story, the product does speak for itself, but you put yourself into it. You put your heart and soul into it. You explain it all the time.
And then we got the bonus footage of Damon being a sandcastle bully. Who knew that Damon would be a sandcastle bully? I had no idea. That's so awesome. I was so happy to see that.
Oh my God, that's right. He knocked it over.
He knocked it over, I think, because he was mad. Yeah.
He was just pissed. He didn't get the deal. He was pissed. He was pissed.
That was
I would have paid him to do that, quite honestly. If I had known him, I would have been like, dude, I'll pay you to do that. It was just awesome for TV. People are actually getting mad at him locally. I'm like, look, somebody had to do it. Why not be one of the panelists? I was excited.
Yeah, no, that was awesome that he did that. That was perfect. His face said it all. It was wonderful. Anyway, guys, I mean, I want to wrap, but I don't want to wrap, but I want to wrap with words of wisdom. What can you say to other inventors, entrepreneurs who want to get on Shark Tank? Because these are the questions they're going to be asking you.
Work your butts off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, work hard.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Know that there's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
There's ups, there's downs, and if you believe in your product and in yourself, you know, you can do it. But it's a lot of work.
It's
like,
a lot of work.
You have to be ready to work.
You got to be fully invested. You got to be passionate.
Mm.
Passion, that's the one thing we're seeing, that people are writing us saying, we could feel your passion through the television.
Absolutely.
When you are pitching your product, you got to put it all out there. This is an extension of you, really, in an essence, because this brand wouldn't exist without Laurie and I, right? So we have to basically convince the world, here's our product and here's why it's better and here's why you need it. You got to get that passion across to all the people watching everywhere. It's super, super important.
You have to want it. I mean, you have to want it the way you want it.
Mhm.
And that absolutely shows, without a doubt. Well, everybody, I want to say, you're going to be at my conference speaking, right? Our keynote speakers coming, it's coming up in a couple of weeks. So it's Sunday, November 6th at the Jumping Brook Country Club. You're my keynote speakers. Woo! Oh my gosh. And you could register to come to that conference. It's aowie.com to see Laurie and Kevin speak about their experience. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Kevin and Laurie, you are the best. I'm so, 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 so proud of you.
Thank
My
you.
heart, oh my gosh, my heart be still. You guys are amazing.
Well, we're so happy that that you're a part of our journey, because you've been so supportive and helpful to our business along the way. I mean, QVC wouldn't have happened. There's so many things that you have been a rock for us as well. Like when my truck broke down in Virginia or wherever it was, Florida. These things, this is all part of the journey that, like,
Oh my gosh.
you were part of it,
I know.
and without you, I may have jumped off the ledge. You know what I mean? Like it gets hard. It gets hard. So thank you, Lisa, for being a true motivator and a supporter and a believer in us. It means the world to
It's
us.
easy for me with people like you. It really is. You
Thank
make it easy. You really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you guys. I can't wait to see you on November 6th. So excited and so proud of you. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you
Thank you,
soon. I
Lisa.
love you both. I
All
love
right.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.